Hello and welcome to another The Builders Agency Lessons, where I go back into the last week running my agency and extract some lesson, something profound that we can learn from, we can talk to, and become wiser because of that conversation. And here we are. And today we are talking about relationships, networking, building relationships, networking. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've had some interesting conversations this week. So one of the things, one of my roles, one of my hats in my business is to talk to people. And whether that's partners, whether that's people for this podcast, or just people I meet networking. And so that is a big part of what I do, right? Every week I'm talking to people, new people, partners, all that. So And I actually had a really great conversation with somebody earlier in the week. On Monday, there was an event. And during that event, I got connected with somebody at that event I never met before. And I shared my Calendly link, and we had a conversation yesterday. It's going to be on my podcast now, so it's an upcoming guest. But we had one of these 15-minute conversations that turned into an hour. And we had a lot in common and stuff because he goes way, way back into the distant past on the internet like I do. And so we knew a lot of common things. We did a lot of some of the same stuff, hung out in the same communities. But out of that, we were talking about networking, and because they have kind of a consulting business, and networking is part of what he does as well. Probably how we connected. We just gravitated to each other because we're both trying to do the same thing. But out of that, we're talking about networking and the power of that and how networking works. And one of the things that I kind of brought up, I think maybe he alluded to as well, was that how you do networking, right? I had a really great guest last year on this podcast, Albert Wagner. We talked a lot about networking. You can find him on thebuilders.fm. And the guests, just you can search for him, Albert. So Albert and I talked a lot about networking, and he's got some great insights about it. That's how he built his business. He's got a large business. He's in like 26 states. That's how big his business is. Listen to that episode. And I think that's part of what influenced me to really beginning of this year to really double, triple, quadruple down on networking. But part of that is that it takes time, right? This is not one of those, it's not like advertising. It's not like something you're going to do like SEO or whatever and be like, okay. So like if you do paid advertising, you would expect results in a very short period of time or you're going to go broke. SEO, it's a little bit longer because there's a lot more to do. It takes more time. But networking even takes more time, in my opinion. So it's not something where, and talking to my new friend yesterday, it's not something where you give it 3 months. I've done networking, it doesn't work. I had no business, nothing happened, no partnerships. 3 months. No, that's not how it works. The relationships that have been gold for me have developed over years and even a decade or more. Literally. Okay. I've been on the internet for 2 decades. So there's people I interact with today, or I might do something with tomorrow that I've known for a long, long time. And as we were discussing yesterday, sometimes like we're talking, well, what can we do for each other? And there may be some instant there. But also maybe 4 or 5 years from now, we know each other. We've talked to each other maybe many times in that time span. Some opportunity comes, and that opportunity is the one that, we do something big together. So it's a long game. It really, really is. So if you're going to do networking, you don't just build it overnight. It's about building relationships. Okay. So a lot of the business that I've gotten or referrals I've gotten from people I've built these relationships with, that happened years after I met them, or they got to know me in some other space. And then later on, oh, what are you doing, Matt? Oh, I know somebody that needs that kind of thing. Those are the things that happen. But also it's just staying in touch with that person. Hey, dropping a little note once in a while. How you doing? What's up? Anything new? How's business? What are you working on? Just little notes. I did that this past week on Twitter even. Somebody I know on Twitter said, how you doing? What's going on? What's new? And we just stay in touch that way. And again, it doesn't, there's no agenda at that moment. It's just staying in touch with people. And just like having friends, right? If you don't call your friends once in a while, you kind of drift apart. But in the time span might be different. There's people I know, I have friends that in business that I haven't talked to in a year. But then for some reason, we just connect and we have a conversation, hop on a Zoom call or whatever. So things happen over time. There's a lot so as relationships build, and even ones you've already established. So maybe you've done some business together with somebody. I'll give you an example of an agency I work with. I've been working with this agency for literally 3 years. It's one of the first agencies I built a relationship with and started doing work for right out of the gates. Like literally, that's how we built a relationship. The first thing we did a project and another project, help with this client and another client and another client. And we're always doing stuff for them now. But one of the things through that though is if you follow me, you know that we do a lot of maintenance. That's one of the biggest chunks of our business right now. And out of that, we've learned how to do maintenance, how to build those contracts and how to help people and what people need. And so I've been able to, I reached out to this partner, I had built this relationship with for the last 3 years. I said, you know what? I said, if I don't know if you know this, because you got to people don't know. They don't, especially if they got a busy agency. They don't know what we're doing necessarily. They're not following us every day on social media or whatever. But I dropped them a note. I said, you know what? One of the things you can offer these clients we're helping you with is maintenance. And here's a doc, PDF, that breaks down what we can do and what the pricing is. It wasn't a month later, and he already sold like one kind of a basic plan, but we got tiered stuff. We're already closing on one. So, and that may be a fluke, and maybe 6 months before he closed on another one. It just so happened they had somebody that could use that. But that happened because we're staying in touch. We're talking, we're sharing, we're trying to come up with ideas. And that's where relationships go, right? So especially partnership, when those relationships, networking, doing something together, building that partnership isn't static. And you're not just going to do what you're doing today. You can float ideas. You can grow your businesses together. So I'll give you another example of this morning. About an hour ago, I was on a call. We're on a call for about an hour, I think, maybe less. And it's one of our agency partners. They help us with some stuff. But we have been talking about doing something new together. And I was actually talking about KPOs this morning, which KPO services, okay. But this conversation that I'm having right now, what we're working on, is a longer term project over the next probably 6 months. It's going to develop. This might open a whole new division of my business, a whole new thing that we're doing. And who knows where that will lead. But there's some big things we're talking about. Really, really cool things. And that's exciting. But this is an agency I've been working with well over a year now. I've built a relationship, even met the founder in person. Had a little meeting down in Chicago. So I'm building that personal relationship, pretty good relationship with them, right? We're going to do some great things together. And that all happened through networking or being on social media. I made my connection with that person on social media, on LinkedIn. Don't tell me LinkedIn doesn't work. So we did that. We did some projects together. Now we're talking about some bigger things. My point, and hopefully the takeaway of this video is that, first of all, networking works. Relationships is a long-term game. It's not about what somebody can do for you today. It's not even about if you do something necessarily with that person you're networking with. It could be they connect you with somebody else. That happens all the time. It does. I've experienced it. So if you are committed to it, if you are planning on, you hear about this networking thing that it's really good, it can do great things. It can. But again, it's a long game. It's not something I'm going to go out this month and I'm going to go network. I'm going to go to one event, hand out some business cards, and something will happen. That's not how it works. That is not what true networking is or how it should be approached. So it's a powerful thing. You're building relationships. You're building partnerships. And the pool of knowledge grows. So what I know, that's one of the things that I think is important as well, because if you connect with the right people, they will inspire you. They will challenge you. They will stimulate new ideas that you wouldn't have thought of on your own. That conversation I had this morning, we're starting to go into stuff. I'm like, yeah, we could possibly, I hadn't thought that deeply about it. I think I said exactly that. I haven't gone that deep about it. So now it had that idea is in my head now. It'll percolate as we're planning this out. And this might turn into a much larger thing than I ever imagined. I don't know, but it could. So don't limit yourself. If you're thinking about networking, think about the long-term game. Do it. It's really, really powerful. Yeah. To your success. Thanks for stopping by. I hope this was helpful, inspiring. Get out there and do it. Take care.